awful. I am a very tired flying Ryan Gilgers along with.
Tampa Motormouth, Joel Verone, so you might be caffeine Ryan instead of flying today.
Snoring Ryan, groggy Ryan, out of it Ryan. There's plenty that we can try and figure out. But yeah, first
But
weekend of football, a lot of
to
late nights, and then
to make up for the shellacking that your Dolphins got, how about USF ranked for the first time in quite a very long time?
yep, ranked number 18 and with an opportunity to play Miami. They'd probably fare better against the Dolphins than the Hurricanes this year. That's just I mean, you watch both teams. One looks really good, and the other one plays in the NFL.
Two
But
coaches
yeah,
I would not want to be right now, either Billy Napier or Mike McDaniel.
I think Napier is in more trouble because that is the first school in the state of Florida not named Florida State or Miami, Florida has ever lost to. And I mean, that means UCF that had their moment in the sun, USF that's been close a few times, Florida Atlantic, Florida International, all these schools that have played these teams. USF first one to knock them off. That's not one of the big three Florida schools. So, yeah, USF 18-16, and then the Dolphins. Well,
Oh,
they tried, I guess.
and it doesn't get any better in the off week as apparently Tyreek Hill's estranged wife has now accused him of domestic violence. So Tyreek's season could take an interesting turn very shortly.
I don't think it's going to affect them too much this season, just because they have to work through the case. They have to work through an investigation. The estranged ex-wife is not always the most calm, rational
True.
side of the story. It could be a, hey, I'm going to get you because I'm jilted or hurt or whatever. It could be a very, very well be legitimate, and with Tyreek Hill, it's not out of character. But the jealous jilted ex does not
Yeah,
necessarily mean
we've seen Tyreek with not exactly some good judgment calls in some cases.
yeah. And yeah, not a great start to the season for Miami. Have to lose to what everybody's now calling Indiana Jones, Daniel Jones, the giant that left and was great, similar to Saquon. And you know, we're going to find out a lot about the Colts. Maybe the Colts are a great team with Daniel Jones. Maybe the Giants were the problem with Daniel Jones. It happened with Sam Darnold, with the Jets. It happened with Geno Smith. It happened with Saquon Barkley, even though we knew he was great. It's very possible the Giants are just a dumpster franchise like the Jets, that their players come in, they're good-ish,
Oh,
but
and
they never hit their ceiling, and then they leave, and boom, they're just fantastic players.
did you see the Grossi? I think it was either the scripted or every fan's reaction where he was singing the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, that was the scripted. Yeah, he
Tell
does
me
good work,
why.
and it was a parody. It wasn't just him singing the song; there was a parody to it.
Well, my take on it is I can imagine the Lion fans saying, "Tell me why you send Ben back."
Yeah, but for what it's worth, the board is now going to be down here until I can find a place to hang this in camera. But we had one of our best
Yeah,
weeks of picks
yeah.
that we have ever had.
Did you have a board meeting first to figure that out?
No, but I did jot it down. Apparently, and this may say something, I have too many leagues. Some have the medium, but 11-8 after 1 week is a lot.
4-1 for my fantasy football, and I have survived the Guillotine League's first week.
All right. I will say this for my most important leagues: the two live draft ones are the two that got me. My big leagues, I did take care of business in most of them, but the two I did live drafting, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase killed me in one. And
Yeah,
hey,
I know.
anybody who has that stack had a bad first week.
I know because I have one where my Cup of Joe team. Yeah, I have on the bench Daniel Jones starting Joe Burrow. Usually
That's the
Daniel
right
Jones in
decision.
most universes is not a better start than Joe Burrow. Usually.
That is the correct decision that you made. So don't feel bad.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. You look at my roster in that league. Drake London, not a great game,
Bum, bum, bum,
possibly an
bum.
injured. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, nothing special there. David Montgomery and the Lions kicker was
Do you
pretty
have any
decent.
do you
But
have any Kittle shares? Ooh,
I do
I
in a
don't,
work
thankfully.
league and a dynasty where the tight end is a premium. But I also have David
Wait.
Njoku, so in the
Oh,
short
okay.
term, I can patch that hole. That's a very thin team, but it is 2-0 because that league plays the league median. And I think I owe two people a lot of credit for that. That is Derrick Henry and Josh Allen because they put up about 75
Oh,
of
yeah,
my
I know.
150 points.
My football guys league where I auto drafted because I didn't want to try doing 2 drafts at the same time.
Sounds fun.
I'm talented. I ain't that talented. Sorry, 'cause you'd be like, "Okay, I'm picking this one, I'm picking" and which team has what and what's a you can 1 draft is
Yeah.
enough to pick 1 time. So I looked, I didn't know what time it was. I just said, "Oh, I'll just put that one on auto," and got Josh Allen as quarterback.
Yeah, I did have the Megla Bowl draft end and another my work league draft start. There's about 10 minutes of overlap, and that wasn't so bad. But it was a
How
lot.
bad was it?
It was all right. Hey, the Mega Bowl is 2-0,
Alright.
and I technically have lost in the work league, but it is by point
'Cause
oh
that
six.
weird that's that sort of weird where you play everybody in the entire league thingy, right?
Well, that's where you play the median. So if you technically in a 12-team league, if you're a top 6 scorer, you get a win. If you're a bottom 6
It's
scorer,
something I'm
you
still trying to
lost.
wrap my head around, and it doesn't process.
What that is for is essentially if you, like I had in one of my leagues, I was the third highest scorer. I played the team that had the most points. I got a loss. There are teams that scored 50 points less than me that got a win. Now, with the median, I would be 1-1, and that team that scored 50 points less and got a win would also be 1-1. It tries to mitigate the dumb luck of, oh, you had a
Oh, okay.
bad break. Because you think about it, you can have 3 weeks like where we just had Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase crap the bed. They tank 3 weeks. That's going to happen. Wide receivers are in it, and quarterbacks are inconsistent.
So
Then
that
you've got three
mitigates both
weeks.
ways of both of the extremes of fantasy
Yeah,
football. Oh, okay, I got it.
yeah, because you have 3 weeks where you just run into the number one team, which in 14 weeks it's doable. It's maybe not likely, but it is
Hi,
doable.
let me
You'll
run
run into
into
them.
a freaking track. Oh,
So
that's
now it's like you've
working
got
very
three
good.
weeks. You've got 3 weeks where everybody busts. 3 weeks where you run into a buzzsaw, and now at best you're 8-6, and that's not just your lucky breaks or unlucky breaks going for or against you. So that's what that whole point is. It tries to mitigate it. There are other ways to mitigate it, which like the last place or the last playoff team is the highest scoring non-playoff team on record, as opposed to the 6th seed. There's other ways to do it, but yeah. Anywho, picks this week, Joel with a blistering 12-4
I'm
and lost by a game this week.
I'm going to keep a level head because I know there are going to be 8 picks right weeks and even less
Oh yeah.
coming ahead because you have to be like, this is the time where you're like, I am the great Nostradamus. I see all, I know all. And then you have those weeks that come up that go, and no, you know.
Yeah, I know there's been a lot of weeks where we go 5-11, and I'm happy with the 13-3. I think that might be our one of our best pick'em weeks of all time. And Joel with a 12-4, still one game back as he was after the first 2 games of the season. So let's get into the recaps. We're not going to go too deeply into the Thursday and Friday game where the Cowboys lost to the Eagles
We already
24-20.
talked about that ad nauseum.
Yep, and the Chargers beat the Chiefs 27-21. And let's go to the first game on Sunday. And I'm wearing the jersey of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who beat the
Oh,
Falcons
yeah.
23-20. We knew this was going to be a close game. I think we said a last-second field goal might determine it. It did. It just was a missed field goal. I took the Falcons as one of my 3 misses. Joel took the Bucks as they win 23-20. Emeka
Talk about
Egbuka.
sweating out a game.
Yeah, Emeka Egbuka with 2 touchdowns, looking like he could be a very special player for the Bucks. we'll see what his workload continues to be. He wasn't hyper targeted, but he was efficient when he got the ball. Mike Evans, a decent game. Bucky Irving, a little bit of a slow start, but did get into the end zone. The Falcons, Michael Penix looked really, really good. And I think if you're a fan in the NFC South, not of the Atlanta Falcons, you don't like to see that the Falcons might have gotten a very good quarterback. A little bit of a slow start, but did get it done in the end. He gave their team a chance to put it to overtime, and Younghoe Koo, he did the Buffalo Bills thing and just put it wide right.
Yeah, I like the Grossi video where he's saying, "Can Kirk Cousins kick?" So,
Mm-hmm.
just a painful, painful loss for the Falcons, who, if they're thinking of having any kind of legitimacy to the crown, now they get to come to Ray J. And I think the Bucks are set up pretty good. They need to get some of their wide receivers, McMillan and Godwin, healthy and out there. But considering the injury concerns that they had, I think Baker Mayfield mitigated everything pretty darn decently. And to escape out of Atlanta with a win is big because, oh boy, do they have a challenge coming up in week number 2.
Yeah, we'll get to that on Friday, but this division
Gotta
is a
get down on
two.
Friday.
Yeah, this division is a two-team race. It is Tampa. It is Atlanta. It's not the end.
It ain't this. It ain't the Aints and it ain't the Panthers.
Not unless
Bucks
something
only team that
dramatically
won in
changes.
the South this week.
I mean, some great divisions have that kind of problem too, where only one team wins. Look at the AFC East. I can't say it with a straight face, but the Bucks and Falcons. It's good to have the leg up early. Still a long season ahead of them, but the Bucks with the first win. And beating an Atlanta team that really had, I mean, they were ahead. They fell behind very late and still had a chance to put it overtime. A very good game.
Will
Speaking of,
take it.
yeah, speaking of a competitive game, a little more than we thought. The Bengals win 17-16 over the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns use the I'm going to go as slowly as humanly possible on offense. So Joe Burrow
Not
and
what you
Jamar
wanted
Chase sit on the sideline.
for anybody in the Cincinnati offense to let you down and let you down hard, and you're just scratching your head. You're still starting him. You're
Oh,
not
of course.
you're not benching Jamar Chase in any
No,
universe. You're not benching Joe Burrow in any universe. I don't even think you're benching T. Higgins in any
no, you're
universe.
not benching anybody you would normally be starting for the Bengals. As a result of this game, again, the Browns seem like they just held the ball for long, slow, methodical drives. Then the Bengals would get it back. They would do what they did pretty
They
quickly,
still
whether it was score.
got the
The
job
Browns would
done.
go slow. But a 17-16 win, albeit with a missed extra point and field goal by the Cleveland Browns. This game could have been a
Browns are
Cleveland
just
win.
cursed.
And I mean, the Browns are cursed, but the Bengals, again, start the season very slowly. They did get the win, but they're starting, they look slow. Encouraging signs, the defense didn't just look like
Yeah,
complete soggy paper. So that was a good thing
anybody
for,
expecting like 50 plus fantasy points from Burrow or Chase, they sort of did this sort of the tweet to tweet to tweet to tweet
yeah.
to thing this week.
Yeah, the only really good Bengal this week for fantasy was Chase Brown with a touchdown. You saw Fannin Jr., the tight end for Cleveland, have a very good week, along with Dylan Sampson. Jerome Ford looked completely washed. Cedric Tillman had a good week. Jerry Judy was decent. Joe Flacco, a couple bad luck interceptions, but played pretty well overall. The Browns might be better than we're giving them credit for. When you look at the teams that played on Sunday, they weren't the one that looked the worst. We'll get to that in the next game.
Ooh, yeah.
I have two helmets of theirs
You
behind
could,
me.
you could almost have a division of the worst teams, and you would wonder how it would play out.
Yeah, that'd be fun. The Super Bowl suck divisional style. But the Bengals do get a win. They are now 2-11 in week 1 and week 2 games under Zach Taylor, and that's not good enough. But at least they got the 1-0 start this time.
Hmm.
All right, next up, I guess we'll talk about it. The Dolphins look like the worst team in football, losing to the Colts 33-8, and it wasn't even that close. Devon Achane salvaged a good fantasy game with a long touchdown reception. He did get you 16 points and half PPR, which
Tyreek was kept out of the end zone and under
yeah,
a
well,
block.
so was everybody else. But Tyreek, Waddle, Daniel Jones looked fantastic. Tua looked if
Yeah,
you told me Tua had just suffered a concussion before he walked on the field, it would be believable.
and Daniel Jones and the Colts set a record in recent memory, scoring on every flippin' drive. Not done for quite a long while.
And note to everybody, the Dolphins play the Patriots this week, and the week after that they're on Thursday night in Buffalo. Start really James Cook that game because that game will be over by halftime.
That,
But
that, that one, like Darth Vader goes to Mike McDaniel and Greer. I find your lack of winning disturbing.
yeah, I will. I have a new shirt coming for my Dolphins fandom. It is a very sad porpoise drinking and smoking at a bar, and it really reflects how I feel as a Dolphins fan right now. Just sad, just very sad. Um, but the Colts look very good. I mean, we'll see if they can stack up next week when they play Denver. We're going to learn a lot about the Colts. We're
I,
going to learn a lot about the Dolphins. It's week
I saw
one. It could just be a fluke,
I saw
but
two videos. One, I didn't watch it, but I can pretty much guess, knowing the personality, Screaming A. Smith, talking about Tyreek needs to be traded. And then you had
hey,
Shannon Sharp and Ocho. Also, title of the video, Tyreek needs to be traded.
as a Dolphins fan, I've been saying that for a little while now.
Yeah,
I
because
think the Dolphins are approaching the point of blow it up, see if you can move Tua, see if you can move Tyreek, get some early draft capital if you can. Try and get your quarterback. This is a good quarterback class in 2026. If you do poorly enough and one of these great quarterbacks falls in your lap, don't let Tua stop you.
I even saw a crazy post, I'm forgetting who did it, post or video, saying that the Dolphins should swap Cleveland and trade for Shador Sanders.
You know, if Cleveland will take Tua, it's not the worst idea. Give someone like him a shot. And I kind of look at that move as what New Orleans did with Tyler Shuck, who was not the starter week one. Is, well, maybe you draft your quarterback of the future. If not, Spencer Rattler, probably not the solution as well. You should have an early enough draft pick to go get your franchise quarterback, whether that's Arch Manning or one of the several good quarterbacks expected in this class. But the Dolphins, their secondary is awful. The Colts scoring on every drive does not bode well for the rest of the season. It is week one.
Do you need the water boy soundbite? Oh no, we suck again.
Yeah, it is only week one. It could get better. It could get a lot better, but
Or as,
better is could still be bad as well.
or as Shania Twain would sing, and I promise I won't sing it. Can only go up from here.
I thought you were going to say, man, I feel like a woman for how they played because it was bad. But the Colts, I mean, you got to give them the credit. Jonathan Taylor, very good. The offense did not look stoppable. The Dolphins played into that, of course, but we'll see what the Colts are down the line. It seems like they might be better than we expected with Daniel Jones. Next up, the longest game of the day with an hour plus lightning delay.
Seems to
The
be a trend this week.
We see this early in the season, especially in Florida. But the Jaguars win 26-10, and you
The game
probably
that
weren't happy with
probably
Will
nobody
Sky.
saw the end of. 'Cause everybody is like, when is this game going to restart again?
Yeah, Travis Etienne is the man for the Jaguars. They ended up trading Tank Bigsby the following morning. He had a monster
Little bit of a
game.
backup for sack one, Barkley.
Yeah, he had a monster game. Brian Thomas Jr. was bad. He just had a 9 yard rushing touchdown. That was his big play of the game. Juba Hubbard had a decent day, even though they were kind of shut down most of the way. And Tedero McMillan, the rookie, not the worst debut you could imagine, but a 26-10 win for the Jaguars. They moved to 1-0. And I think they have a few more questions than they would like after winning a game by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, but at least they won and nobody got injured, so we're off to a great start for 2025, kids.
Yeah, the Jags, we'll see what it goes as we go down the line. Trevor Lawrence needs to be better, but week one, you got the job done. Speaking of getting the job done, the Raiders go to New England and win 20-13 over the Patriots. Drake May,
Little bit of a
did
rough day.
he didn't take that second year leap, but there was a little bit of a trend with that. We'll get to some of those other quarterbacks here in a little bit. But he didn't take the big leap
They
forward. We had
did
some injury
great the
fear with
first
Brock
half,
Bauer.
but the Raiders totally shut him down the second half. I mean, just absolutely slammed the door.
Yeah, Ashton Genty had a decent, not spectacular first game, but he did get a touchdown. Brock Bowers left with a knee injury. Looked a lot more concerning than it ends up being. He got hurt a play before. It looked like a non contact injury when he finally saw it, but it did happen the play before, and he was held out the rest of the game. Trevion Henderson, who was drafted very early, is only on the field for about 36% of snaps. He will get more touches in the future. He's just too good to keep off the field, but still decent. And Keyshawn Booty, he was the wide receiver of choice for the New England Patriots. Joel, any thoughts on this one?
Oh, just a rough game for the Patriots. As all of a sudden, once again it was a tale of two halves. Everything happening in the first half, and then the second half, like the old game press your luck game show. They got the old whammy quite a lot, and
Whoa.
Drake May has just a lot of maturing to do, and needs some help from some of the pieces around him. Looking to folks, like from Andre Stevenson et al. And yeah, that team just has, as you said, a lot of questions going forward.
Yeah, they play the Dolphins next week. If their offense looks bad once again, I think
Hmm,
you start to worry that the
Might want
hype.
to choose the under in that game.
We'll see if the Dolphins defense is bad. It could be another high scoring game for the opponents. Next up, another 20-13 road win. This time it was the Cardinals over the Saints, and they
Oh
hung
man,
on by the skin of their teeth to win that game.
yeah, you had Cardinals in Survivor like I did. It was another game like the Bucks, and you were sweating literally until the final gun.
Yeah, I did not see that coming. Kyler Murray did play sick. That did factor into it. Marvin Harrison had a pretty decent game. James Conner was all right. You saw Alvin Kamara still be Alvin Kamara. The Saints, a little more fight than we expected. Not necessarily getting the win, but I think we thought this was going to be an absolute doormat, a la what we saw in Miami. And they hung tough. Maybe the Cardinals aren't as good as we were thinking. Even if they're on the back end of that division, they could still be a very good team. But the Cardinals do pull out a very gut wrenching win, 20-13 over the Saints.
Yeah, the Saints were going, hey, we didn't suck quite as bad as we thought we would. Go us.
It's almost one of those like I shouldn't be encouraged because we lost and I think we need to have a bad year, but are we not as bad as we thought? Speaking is not as bad as we thought. Jets and Steelers. Holy crap. This was the game of
That
the
was
day
one
until
of those
Sunday Night
games that you
Football.
were not expecting that kind of score to come from these two teams. Justin Fields on a new team trying to figure things out. Aaron Rodgers motivated by revenge. Though you could technically call it a double revenge game. I don't know about you. I'm kind of getting already sick of hearing revenge game and it's week one. And it's like, okay, this is a revenge game. And you're like, can we just call it a game? I guess you got to have a narrative, you got to have a storyline, you got to have things to talk about and yak about. But yeah, just Aaron Rodgers, he took the his revenge on the Jets, and you saw that quote after him. Definitely not humble by any stretch of the imagination,
Of
and
course not.
even in a, of course, not that you would ever associate humble with him. And Justin Fields actually gave, if you did a dart throw on him, he gave you a pretty damn good day as far as fantasy goes, and even almost won in reality. So who knows going forward?
Yeah, Steelers win 34-32. Aaron Rodgers is glad he could beat everybody associated with the Jets. I kind of wish he would have called out some low level, like janitor style person by name, just to be like, including janitor Jerry. Screw that guy too. Just to be like, yeah, screw the Jets. But uh, very dramatic, high scoring win that I don't think anybody saw coming. It was the lowest over under the week. I think it was like 37 and a half or 38. And they both almost broke that on their own. Steelers move to 1-0, and if this offense continues to be good, DK Metcalf was great. maybe they're a better team than we think, but it's week 1. The revenge narrative was there.
All of a
Let's
sudden, when you get
pump
to
the brakes.
normal flow, we'll have to see what kind of production we get.
Yeah, next up, Commanders 21-6 win over the Giants, and the Giants look real bad.
Russell Wilson didn't even get the burner lit.
Yeah, he tried to cook on an ice block, and that doesn't usually go well. Oh boy.
He was trying to cook like it was a Hurricane Milton. You didn't have any power.
Yeah. Trying to think of a good thing to say about the Giants. I mean, they still have Malik Neighbors. That's about it.
Good thing
Wandale, PPR
about the
machine.
Giants. They're hoping Jackson Dart can start sometime soon. Jameis ain't the answer either.
No, but he would at least be fun. So we'll see what they do. Debo Samuel, Ja'Cory, Krosky, Merritt, Bill, as a lot of people call him, both very good games. Terry McLaurin coming off the contract dispute. Not a surprise he had a bad week. But the Commanders want to know. They're going to go to Green Bay for Thursday Night Football this week to face the Green Bay Packers, and the Giants get to go play the Cowboys. So, yeah, two very good teams and two very bad teams meeting next week. And this one, I think it was actually closer than I expected, 21-6. But the Giants they have nothing.
Well, granted, it's only week 1, but do you think Daboll survives the season?
I would hope so for his sake, but at the same time, you have to look at that GM and say, you let Saquon walk, you won a Super Bowl. Maybe you're the problem. Maybe the guy buying the groceries is the one buying the moldy fruits, vegetables, and stale
Hopefully,
and
not any
expired.
radioactive shrimp either.
Oh, it's all radioactive shrimp there. And he's going, hey, cook me a Michelin 5-star meal. And he's like, but this is a dog turd. Like, what do you want me to do with this? I can't make this any better than the dog turd that you gave me because it's a dog turd. If you give me, a piece of crappy steak, I can work with that. But you gave me a dog turd. What do you want me to do, sir, with this dog turd? That's where I feel like Brian Daboll needs to just be like, what do you want me to do? He'll go back. He'll be an offensive coordinator for a couple years. He'll get another shot, hopefully with a better team. I'm personally hoping the Steelers somehow find a way to fire Mike Tomlin. He can go to Miami. But Brian Daboll is not a bad coach. He's just got nothing to work with. Moving on. Man, the Broncos look bad. The offense for the Broncos looked bad. The defense looked very good. In a 20-12 win over the Tennessee Titans, Cam Ward, a little bit of a trial by fire, but he was not the reason they lost that game. Tony Pollard had a decent output. J.K. Dobbins, Cortland Sutton, even R.J. Harvey had a big run in that game. Evan Engram injured in this one, so we'll have to see how long he is going to miss, if any time. It's still very, very fresh. But the Titans, 8-point loss to a team that was in the playoffs last year after being the worst team in football. Cam Ward looks competent, maybe not spectacular, but a rookie
Calvin
first
Ridley
start.
was just, covered all day long, so he couldn't do squat.
One of the scenes of the weekend came from this game. It was Cam Ward's father in the stands. He throws it to one of the receivers. It's dropped. The next play, he throws it to Ridley. It is dropped. And you just see him go to the railing and put his head down like, are you effing kidding me? That ball couldn't have been any more perfectly thrown. It literally hit him right here. You couldn't have hit him any better. He drops it next play, same kind of deal, and they end up losing the game. It's like, well, what do you want Cam Ward to do other than hit the guy in the hands 3 straight plays and have them not catch the ball? The Titans, I think they will be a good team. I think Cam Ward should be the real deal long term. He looked good in week 1, and that is a absolute unit of a defense in the Denver Broncos. Tennessee, I still think is going to be a deceptively good team, probably better the second half of the season, similar to what we saw with the Broncos. But the Broncos, Bo Nix, oh boy, he needs to get it going because that was bad.
I'm sure hoping they're like that this week.
Yeah. But the Broncos, 1-0, one of the 3 undefeated teams in the AFC West.
Definitely yet another ugly win this week.
Yeah. Next up, the 49ers and the
That's it sort of
Seahawks.
makes you, if I may interject, you kind of think of since they used to have 4 weeks of preseason flying, and now it's 3 weeks. It's almost like week one is the fourth week of preseason.
And that's why I said last time, week one is the hardest week for fantasy because you have all these guys who haven't played at game speed since the end of last season. So at best, your Eagles, your Chiefs, February. All the great players sit. You think Joe Burrow took any real snaps in the preseason? Jamar Chase? No. The preseason is for rookies like Cam Ward. It's for young guys who didn't get a lot of run last year, like Ricky Pearsall in the 49ers game. It's not there for the good established vets. So they come out super, super flat. And we saw it with the Niners. George Kittle injured in this game, hamstring injury, going to the IR. He's going to miss at least 4 weeks. Christian McCaffrey with a calf injury did get through just fine. And he was very good for fantasy. George Kittle did get a touchdown before it departed. Tonj is the backup tight end. He got the game-winning touchdown in that game. The 49ers defense looked pretty good. The offense sputtering a little bit. Juwan Jennings left the game with an injury. He is considered day-to-day. The Seahawks, what's going on with Ken Walker and
Even
Charbonnet?
Brock Purdy is injured, and they're going to be going with Mac Jones.
I don't know if it's official that they're going Mac Jones, but his status is in doubt between a shoulder and I think a foot injury. I know the shoulder is one of them. I don't know if the foot's the other, but he is questionable. He's in doubt for this week. It's not great for the 49ers, although if Mac Jones starts, it'll probably be a lot of Christian McCaffrey, which for
And
fantasy, if you have him, is very good.
they're just a very, very ugly game with an ugly team, just with how they flow.
Yeah, the 49ers have the fourth most games lost due to injury. Miami is number one in the last, I think, 3 or 4 years. Not getting any better. For Seattle, you had JSN looking great, and then you had a 100% timeshare in the backfield between Charbonnet and Walker, and Charbonnet was the lead back. He got the touchdown. I think he had a few more touches in the game. Walker was an early pick. Charbonnet was an afterthought, but if you took Charbonnet, you're much, much happier today. What this split's going to look like in a couple weeks, we don't know. It's going to be a very interesting part of the season to follow up on. But the Seahawks fall 17-13. Sam Darnold looked more like the Sam Darnold of the Jets than he did of the Vikings last year. And we'll see what the Seahawks are long term. But the Niners, they have an easy strength of schedule. They looked decent with all the injuries in week one, and they get the win. All right, moving on. Green Bay just dismantled the Lions.
Holy crap.
27-13. The game was not that close.
You were wondering if the Lions having a bad preseason would carry over. Answer is that would be yes.
Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs, 10 catches for 31 yards. He couldn't get anything going. That's actually the fewest receiving yards on 10 catches in the history of the National Football League. The Packers defense might just be truly elite. And if they are, this is a team that's going to win the Super Bowl because their offense is good enough. If their defense can lock down great teams like the Lions, we expect to be a great team.
Parsons had a sack. He didn't play the full game because he's dealing with a very bad back injury that he's trying to mitigate. And Love just played out of his mind. And the Lions just looked lost all day. You're going, what happened? Did some of the defensive injuries from last year when you had literally the entire defense was on IR, did that carry over, or are they already starting behind the 8 ball for 2025 in a team that you have a lot of people that are picking them as Super Bowl picks?
Yeah, Detroit gets Chicago next week, so a potential of a get-right game. The Bears didn't look too bad, but their defense didn't look anywhere near as good as what Green Bay looked. If you
Something
had a
about
fantasy
fourth
asset in
quarters,
this game,
2 days in a row.
yeah, if you had a fantasy asset in this game that wasn't on Green Bay, you probably had a bad time with the exception of Jahmyr Gibbs, because if you're in PPR, 10 catches is enough. Sam Laporta was decent for a tight end. Let's give him credit there. And Jake Bates did have 2 field goals and an extra point, so not the worst day for a kicker. The Packers, Tucker Kraft with a touchdown. Matthew Golden got on the board with a couple of catches. Romeo Doubs had some big plays. Like, this is a team that is Josh
Even,
Jacobs didn't have a big
even
game, but he
Tucker
was
Kraft
good.
had to be considered in there.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of good from the Packers and just a well-balanced team.
As you just have to wonder what's going on with the Lions and how much do they miss Ben Johnson? How much is that injuries from last year? How much is that is the bad offseason? What's going on? And how can the Lions fix it? Because we miss seeing the Lions that just absolutely dominate the living you know what out of everybody.
And the Lions were another team that just didn't play starters in the preseason. I mean, I don't think Amon-Ra St. Brown started any games. I don't think Jared Goff played. I know Tesla played. He had one of the best catches of the weekend in a late touchdown. But you're seeing some good teams come off the slow starts. Don't panic if you're a fan of a team, unless you're Miami, because that was real bad. And don't
Just
panic if
a
you're
little
a
bit.
fantasy. Yeah, don't panic if your fantasy players had a bad week one. They will get better, especially those guys you took early because you're good.
It
Don't
wasn't as
panic
bad as
over
there was even. I know it was a high school score, but it was something like it was a picture. I forget what the exact total. It was something like 100 or 104 to nothing, and there was like the graphic had like a police line in there, and this was a high school score, and I'm going, oof.
it. Yeah, running up the score. All right, next up, Rams 14-9 win over the Texans in one of the most unwatchable games of the week. Kyron Williams with a touchdown. Puka Nakua is still very, very good. Nick Chubb, not bad. I think he was 13 for 60 or so. I mean, averaging about 4 yards a carry, which for his age and injury history, that's not too bad. But the Texans line was real bad. Now the Rams have a great pass rush. We know this. This is going to probably be one of the harder matchups for that Texans offensive line. Nico Collins, though, was a crippler if he was on your roster this week with just, I think, 3 catches for 25 yards. Nothing to write home about by any
Yeah,
stretch
you
of the
started him, you're
imagination.
sort of going, he's not going on the fantasy milk carton, but damn close.
Yeah, he was definitely a bust for the week of fantasy, but the Texans as a whole really did not look good in this game.
Yeah, that would definitely be another whammy winner because that's one of the people that you start. You put Bo Nix out there, you put a C.J. Stroud out there, you put a Nico Collins out there. They're the people that you're expecting some points from, and you're just kind of looking at the screen going, "What's going on?"
Yeah, I had a league where I had Bo Nix, George Pickens, and Nico Collins, and won.
And that's
Bucky,
what
H-Hand, that all helps out though.
that's where you're kind of going
Travis
like this,
Etienne, yeah.
or the you're for all you put all of their names, and it's the do something meme.
Hey, a win is a win. It wasn't a good win, but it's a win. And they'll get better. That's the thing. When you win and your players are bad, you go, oh, it's going to get better from here. It might not, but it's supposed to. Speaking of getting better from here, I don't think we're getting better than the Sunday night game. That was one of the top 5 best games I can remember. The only two that possibly top it would be the Chiefs Rams Mexico City game, where I think it was like a 51-48 final, back and forth the whole way. And the Philly Special Super Bowl, where the Eagles beat the Patriots, I think it was like 43-35, just back and forth the whole way. The Bills come from 15 points back with 3:56 left in the fourth quarter
And you had
and
all
win
of
the
the
game
Bills fans
41-40.
leaving and then trying to come back in.
Yeah, I mean, they got called out by Josh Allen for leaving early. The fans that stayed, though, I got to give them.
Although you had the very, very weird thing where all of a sudden Baltimore was headed to the locker room. Baltimore, the game, it's not halftime. Please come back out. Please.
Clock hit 0. They're like, yeah, we're out of here. You're not putting
Like,
a second back
we are
on there.
out.
Bye.
And then they're like, no, 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 no. You need to come
No,
back.
come back and do the field goal. Yeah, the crowd that stayed though was going nuts well after the final whistle.
How many
Matt
tables
Prater,
were piled
there's
through at the end of this game?
there's no safe table in Buffalo. Never. Derrick Henry though, Lamar Jackson, fantastic. Dave Flowers looked very, very good. Keon Coleman, he was one of the top 2 or 3 wide receivers on the week for fantasy. Josh Allen was
How about how about
bonkers.
How about
Jared Cook.
Derrick Henry owning the loss, taking it on his own shoulders? That's an MVP, and that's a Hall of Famer right there.
Yeah. And the thing is, he had a monster game, had one fumble late that really, really hurt the Ravens, but that wasn't what cost them the game outright. They still had a 2-point lead after the Bills scored, after the fumble. All you need to do is get a first down. Could not get it done, could not stop the Bills. And they win 41-40, and they're the only team in the AFC East with a win in week 1 as the Ravens fall to 0-1. And yeah, this was a historical collapse.
Bills own their posterior when it comes to playing the Ravens in Orchard Park. As I said in the picks, one divisional round playoff win, one regular season win. The only time Ravens have ever beat the Bills was when they played them in Ravens' house. And whenever they go to Orchard Park, it's never a good time.
It looked like a good time for about 56 minutes, and then it just wasn't. But that's what happens when two really good elite offensive, and it seemed like the two quarterbacks were saying, "No, I'm the MVP. I should have been the MVP, or I was the rightful MVP." And Josh Allen takes.
That's why Josh Allen was the MVP, right there, folks.
And the thing is, like, I'm a Dolphins fan, and I hate how much I love Josh Allen as a human being. I really do. Like, he partners with the Pediatric Cancer Center in Buffalo, and he wore a hat pregame that one of the kids like drew a picture and he put it on the hat, and they're going to sell it off for charity. And he's out there just giving it his all. He does so much for the community. And as a Dolphins fan, as a player, screw that guy because he just destroys my team all the time. But as a human being, and for someone, I have in a ton of fantasy leagues. I love him for fantasy. I love him as a human being, but God, it sucks that he's a Bill, and I have to watch him kick my team's butt twice a year, including in week 3 in 2 weeks. Yay. Football's fun, guys. All right. Monday Night Football, the tale of two halves where Caleb Williams looked like Patrick Mahomes for the first quarter and a half. And then
went back into the model.
Yeah, he looked like he looked like you or me out there, I think, if we were trying to play quarterback for an NFL team where he just completely fell apart. He did have a couple rushing touchdowns, so good for him. JJ McCarthy had the opposite, where he just looked like he was lost. I know at one point I said, this guy might be worse than Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams was starting to look bad. I'm like, JJ McCarthy's making him look like a Hall of Famer right now. And all of a sudden, JJ McCarthy just turned it around and just took this game over. I think in the last 18 minutes, they got 3 touchdowns.
When Sonic gets a power ring and then all of a sudden just...
Yeah, Mario got the star and just started mauling people. And they win 27-24 over the Bears. The Bears, well, they still suck. Caleb Williams, though, did look great.
Yes, it's Tuesday. The Bears still suck. Yes.
Caleb Williams started the game 10 for 10 and then just completely fell off a cliff. DJ Moore briefly injured in this game. I think he got hit real hard in the sternum. I think it knocked the wind out of him, and that when you get hit that hard, that'll debilitate you for a few seconds, but it did come back into the game. Justin Jefferson, good game, not great. Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones. That's going to be very interesting the rest of the way because Jordan Mason, they were saying it during the telecast, was the better back in that game for the Vikings. DeAndre Swift looked good for the Bears. Colston Loveland did not get it done. The league I won with Nico Collins and Bo Nix and George Pickens.
DJ Moore sort of seemed to kind of disappear there a little bit.
Yeah, I was all right. Colston Loveland, though, won me a game. And won me a game by being bad, not on my roster. I would never draft that comp. But that's just me. I know I've gone on record before saying I don't think Justin Herbert's a great quarterback. He looked great this week, and he goes back and forth. I'm going to say it with Colston Loveland. The dude is not worth what
I think the Chargers have the Raiders this week, right?
I believe so, on the second Monday Night Football game.
Yes, that's actually not staggered, finally, thank God.
Yeah, at least this one you can watch the entire Tampa Bay Houston game, and then you can go probably fall asleep in the second quarter of the Chargers-Raiders game.
Because, yeah, when the game starts
at
10 o'clock.
We're in Florida. Halftime of that game is going to be about 11:45. Most people on the East Coast with jobs are up really early. Now, given I didn't fall asleep till about 3:45 yesterday. I had to be up at 6, and I am semi-functioning today. We'll see if that happens next week because it would require me to be up until at least 1 to watch the end of the game. But anyways, that is the week 1 recap. Again, Joel with a 12-4 pick'em week. Bested only by my 13-3. I think combined that is our best week of picks that we've ever had. So we're going to try and keep it rolling as we go into the Thursday night game as Joel's having some camera issues and there's back. No, you're good. Maybe he's coming back. But we'll talk about Thursday night football this week. It is Washington at Green Bay. The Commanders and the Packers both coming to this game 1-0. Washington's offense, not spectacular week one against a good Giants defense, but good enough to get the job done. For your fantasy roster, you're gonna play Jay Daniels. You're gonna play Deebo Samuel. You're still gonna play Terry McLaurin, even though he wasn't great. And then Austin Eckler and Ja'Cory Merritt from the Commanders need to be in your lineup. And Zach Ertz, he had a touchdown week one. He's at least in consideration at tight end. Tight end is a cesspool after the top 4 or 5 guys, especially with the George Kittle injury. People, you're going to need to find somebody. If you're in a redraft league, there's going to be guys available. Zach Ertz will be one of those guys. For Green Bay, you're going to play Josh Jacobs. You probably should be considering Jordan Love. I know most leagues it's one quarterback. You're not, but he could be a sneaky good play this week. Matthew Golden, I think, will be better this week. Tucker Kraft. Green Bay didn't have to throw the ball. Jordan Love only threw the ball 22 times, so no wide receiver had a monster game. You can start more of your Packers wide receivers this coming week. Jaden Reed, if he's healthy, will be a good play, as well as Romeo Doubs. Two teams that have legitimate NFC Championship aspirations. I think Green Bay is more likely for the season long to have success, but on a random Thursday night in September in Lambeau Field, anything can happen. So, Joel, who do you got?
Yeah, I know you definitely. The Commanders are a strong team. They've got a strong defense. Jay Daniels can absolutely ball out. But you already just had the Packers absolutely stomp the Lions, definitely known for their offense, I think, more than defense, and absolutely stymied them. And the Commanders are more of a well balanced team, I think. But I think the Packers streak tends to continue because I know it's a little bit of a change in the schedule. It's going to prime time, but the Packers just had the Lions come in here, and I think they're going to be riding high on a little bit of the short week, and they just kind of caught lightning in a bottle, and it's hard going against them, and I've got to pick the Packers here against the Commanders.
Yeah, I'm taking the Packers as well. I think it's going to be a very balanced, high scoring game. I could see it being like a 34-27 type of game. I just think Green Bay's defense did too much to stop the Lions. I don't think it'd be quite that good in week number 2. There was a lot of excitement in the building for week 1. Micah Parsons' debut. I don't think it's going to be quite as good. I think Washington may be one of those offenses just a little better than Detroit's also, but I do think it's going to be a high-scoring win for Green Bay, and we're going to agree on the Thursday night game. So let's move into final thoughts, and we'll go to Joel.
And I just have 4 losers for the week 1, and I'll go through this pretty quickly.
Miami Dolphins.
Oh, they're in there. Not my first one. Jalen Carter, first off, with Spitgate will definitely be remembered all year long. And that November game in Dallas has already been circled on many calendars. Of course, he's not going to be suspended because he was suspended. He got ejected basically 6 seconds in the game. So as far as everyone's concerned, that counts as his game suspended, but he is fined $57,000 and some odd amount that I don't remember, but that was a pretty expensive spit. So first loser of the week has to be easily Jalen Carter. That is going to be remembered for a long time coming. There was even in the Florida and USF game, I think there was a little bit of
cost Florida the game. A very similar situation, just spitting on a lineman, and the lineman just, what are you doing? 15-yard penalty was a pass interference on line. It was just a 20-yard field goal for Grammatica to win the game. But yeah, don't spit on your opponent. That doesn't work out for you.
Number two, loser number two, that would be your Dolphins. You were only one
Ooh.
place out. Yeah, more specifically, Mike McDaniels. His seat just got hotter, and Tyreek Hill just got closer to being traded to another team. And he's got a little off the field shenanigans going on there, too. So,
Man.
yeah, not a good week to be a Dolphin fan. Sorry. Flying number three. That would be the Ravens. If you want to be considered to be going to the Super Bowl, to be Super Bowl eligible, to be have your legitimacy, just thought of as something that people can believe in. You don't lose in week one in Orchard Park to the Bills in that fashion. Sorry, you lose, you get nothing. Good day, sir. And oh yeah, 3A, if you happen to be a fan, don't try to push NFL players or their helmets, whether it's D Hop, especially Lamar Jackson, because guess what? That fan is now not only banned from that stadium, he's banned from all NFL stadiums everywhere.
Oh.
Congratulations, sir. Good job.
I
You
think that's
definitely
I,
get nothing.
I think that's number one personally so far, but it's your list. But
And of
that's a
course,
bad one.
number four, and I've got another one to add on because there's a little bit more of a story following up. Russell Wilson. That was just horrid. That's all I have for that. I'm sorry. That was bad. And for my number five, of course, you remember me talking about the Philadelphia Phillies crazy lady that went after the poor kid and his father to get the
I want the
ball.
ball.
Well, I saw another video where apparently afterwards, with the ball, she's going around and basically going off on everybody around the whole park, flipping them off, going crazy here and there and there. And allegedly, people have been, doxing her. I don't know whether or not it can be
She
proved
lost
that
her
she
job.
lost her job or not, because you don't want to take what you hear over the internet as true, because you can never know if it is or if it's not. But yeah, it's probably not a good idea to try to bully a kid into getting a baseball just because you think that you deserve it when you don't. How about just let the kid get the ball? And I saw there was another, I forget which park it was. There's another video where a guy got a ball and gave it to a nearby kid. So good on them. You also mentioned the CEO who snatched
The
the
hat,
hat.
yeah.
So yeah, just don't be a sorry for the word, but don't be a schmuck.
Yeah, don't be a dick. Um, yeah, I've been to baseball games and gotten a foul ball and been like, "Where's there a kid?" Like that's if there's no kid around, cool, have fun, you caught it. But like if a foul ball comes to me and there's like a 5-year-old three seats down, I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, here you go." Like that's the right thing to do. I'm an adult. I can go buy a baseball. They're not that expensive. All right, my final thought. A couple weeks ago, I expressed some thoughts and a final thought about not understanding why people were so down on the Miami Dolphins. And to that I say, contestant is withdrawing their comments. I understand now.
The council is withdrawing their argument.
Yes, I am no longer. I am recusing myself from this case. The Dolphins are exactly what people said they are,
We
and
are who they thought they were.
I am not going to be uh, acknowledging how bad that take was.
It's 1 week. It's week one. The Bucks still have some time that they could possibly fall down. Your Dolphins still have time that they can rise up.
That will be my shirt for Dolphins games for the foreseeable future. Because that's all I can. Benchwarmershop.com. That's good sports. Brandon Perna, good job on the shirt. It'll be here in a few days. But that's my Dolphins apparel officially until they start looking like their heads are no longer effectively and fully stowed inside their keisters.
As opposed to another word that you could say, but you won't.
That
It'll be good.
That is what the person who recuses themselves from the case says. The fan in me wants to stay, pulls their hat out of there. Hey, look, we're out of time. Anyways, that is our time. For
You
the
you you
Sports
are
Wrap.
you are misremembering what you said before, right? You are not here. You are not here to talk about the past.
Also, fun fact that I saw: the Falcons have their second Michael quarterback who is left-handed, whose last name is one word from a word for a male uh,
So
functional part of the
easily, he's a
body.
pretty big dude.
Yeah. He and Michael Vick, one letter away from, if you switch it from being named after a male
Isn't
organ.
Michael Vick a coach somewhere now?
I hear he does work at the dog park.
Well, I think I saw something where I'm like, Michael Vick is a coach?
Yeah, for the dog pound. Let's go Bulldogs. That's not cool, man. You don't fight those. Anyways, we're going off the rails. I'm gonna wrap it. I am Flying Ryan, who is still very badly sleep deprived. Ryan Gilchrist, along with
Tampa Motormouth Joel Verone probably has had a little bit more sleep than Ryan has had.
Yeah. Plan is to be back on Friday. We'll recap the Thursday night game, go through our week 2 picks, and hopefully we'll keep up our hot start for as long as possible. I'd like to see us. One of us got to get to 200 wins one of these years. There's 285 total games, so we're off to a good start for that goal. But it only takes a couple bad weeks to really throw the monkey
Yeah,
wrench
just
in
one of
there.
those weeks that all of a sudden when you're like, yeah, I'm picking that because they're the better team. That, and then all of a sudden, Monday night, you're going, what the
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah. So with that, I'm going to bed. Yeah,